Let's talk about Square's potential to 10x and be a $2,000 stock by 2025, and most importantly, why I am not convinced that they're going to be able to achieve that potential. And I haven't heard anyone else touch on this, so I wanted to share my different perspective on Square with you and why it's not a high conviction stock for me right now. And I think the reason why a lot of people are missing it is because it's not a quantitative feature or problem, it's a qualitative feature. So the first thing I need to get out of the way is I'm assuming that this 10x growth potential comes from Cash App, not from the seller ecosystem. So that's why we're just gonna be looking at Cash App in this model. So I'm assuming in order for them to get to this 10x $2,000 price, that they have 100 million active users by 2025. And again, I just pulled this number out of my ass. I looked at what's their historical growth rate in getting more monthly active users. And I also looked at how many downloads that they had for last month. And historically, out of those, how many of them use the app and how many of them become a monthly active user, and used all of that historical trends and probabilities to come up with 100 million active users. And then the next assumption that we made is the gross profit on average per monthly active user, which we got to $255. How we got there is we looked at what is the average revenue per user for your traditional banks, which currently, or at least in 2019, was $880 per user. Now the bulk of that money comes from people using that bank as their primary bank account for checkings and savings. And so that's what Cash App really needs to do in order to achieve this. They need to get people to use Cash App as their primary bank account. The money doesn't, right now it's used as like an intermediary. The money goes to there and then they send it to their bank account. It needs to just stay in the Cash App. So for this model, we're assuming that they achieve that. 20% of people get that model, and so they're monetized at $880 in revenue. Then we're assuming 30% are monetized, but not at that high of a rate. They don't use it as a primary bank account, and 50% just use the free stuff, which will get you to an average of $300 in revenue at an 85% margin. Again, I looked at their historical margins and trends and where that's been going. And then that gets you to $255 in gross profit per user. Now, here is the problem. What if they don't get 20% of the people to use it as their primary bank account? Then this number goes from 10x to 5x. So it's really important. And if we look at traditional banks, like most people, they have a primary financial institution, but on average, most people have 4 financial institutions. Why? Why don't they just use, Chase, yeah, I can get direct deposits and I can also buy stocks in there. But why do some people use Robinhood when they have a Chase bank account and they can just buy stocks on Chase? Well, 2 reasons, in my opinion and in ARC's research, is 1, lower fees, and 2, simplicity and ease of use. So Robinhood is simpler and easier to use than Chase, in my opinion at least. And that's why I use Robinhood, even though Chase is my primary financial institution. What Cash App is trying to do to stop that problem is they're trying to be a one-stop shop all. They're offering where you can buy Bitcoins and stocks on their platform. They're trying to do peer-to-peer payments, so it's like you can do what you can do on Venmo there as well. They've got the debit cards with all these special features, and they're adding more and more products so they can be a one-stop shop all. But again, just because you have all these products doesn't mean people are going to use them. Look at Chase. They offer stocks that you can buy on there, but I prefer Robinhood. Why? Because it's simpler and easier to use. And here's my problem with Cash App. While they offer all these products, they're not the best in any of them. Venmo and Zelle are better than them when it comes to P2P payments. I did a poll, and 80% of people prefer Venmo and Zelle. I prefer Venmo and Zelle. It's just a cleaner, easier, simpler user face. Same with I bought stocks on Cash App. It's okay, but I way prefer Robinhood over that. It's simpler and easier interface. And I think that's what people are underestimating, is the user interface. If they don't get this right, they will not get that 20% primary bank account right, and they will not be a 10x stock. And to put into context how important user interface is let's compare the iPhone to the Samsung Galaxy. Galaxies are better. They have more features, better product, but why do people prefer an iPhone? At least in the US, Canada, Australia, and UK. Why do people prefer an iPhone there? Everywhere else, people have adopted Galaxies more. But in those countries, it's because we really value the user interface. And that's a qualitative feature. It's something that you can't put down into why, but it's better on the iPhone. And the user interface on Robinhood is better. So they offer all these products, but they're not better in any one of these categories. And unless they get better, they're not going to be a 10x stock. So I'm just trying to share this different perspective with you. Try it out. Look at Robinhood compared to buying stocks on Cash App. Use Venmo to send a payment to someone instead of Cash App, and see what you think.